With recent innovations, Perimeter Solutions' long-term fire retardant can be applied at the beginning of wildfire season and provide ongoing protection from wildfires until a significant rain event occurs. O.P. Almaraz, CEO of Allied Disaster Defense, works with Perimeter Solutions as an authorized service provider to protect lives and property from wildfire. He joins us on today's Solutions That Save podcast to talk about the 2022 wildfire season, give advice on what homeowners can do to protect their property from wildfires, and preview the upcoming Wildfire Prevention Summit hosted by the Western Fire Chiefs Association. We'll cover that and more on today's episode of Solutions That Save, a fire safety podcast from Perimeter Solutions.
Hello, I'm Dan Green. Welcome to Solutions That Save, a fire safety podcast from Perimeter Solutions, helping save property, natural resources, critical infrastructure, and lives. On today's episode, we're doing things a little differently. Wes Bolsen, Business Director of Wildfire Prevention and Protection for Perimeter Solutions, is going to take on the role of host and interview Allied Disaster Defense CEO, O.P. Almaraz. Let's listen into their conversation.
OP, Wes Bolsen here. Very thankful to have you on our podcast today and really appreciate getting to know you over the last bit of time. OP, will you start off by maybe just telling us a little bit about yourself and your company, Allied Disaster Defense?
Absolutely. Wes, thank you for having me. It's really been an honor to be partnered with Perimeter Solutions over the last year and a half. My name is O.P. Almaraz. I'm the founder of Allied Disaster Defense. And our primary business for the last 12 plus years has been disaster restoration. So I've been in the disaster restoration business for 26 years, having seen the results of wildfire to many of our clients. And that's really what got me engaged to trying to figure out what we can do to provide a service for our customers and our clients to have a prevention piece in place.
Oh, that's wonderful. And what kind of geographic areas are you serving now? Whether that's on the wildfire prevention and protection side or otherwise, and where do you see that growing maybe over the next 2 to 3 years?
Yeah, this is actually very exciting for us. Right now, Wes, we are in Southern California and Northern California and providing the wildfire prevention services to our clients in those areas. But very soon, as early as the beginning of next year, 2023, we will be in neighboring states like Nevada, Arizona. We've had some talks about going over to Utah as well. So we're very excited to expand our footprint and serve many more clients that need this service.
As you look ahead to what's expected to be a highly active wildfire season in the Western United States, what steps do you think homeowners should take themselves when they think about fire-wise approaches, creating defensible space? What advice and counsel are you giving to your customers?
Some of the basic fundamental things that homeowners can do right now without ever even needing an expert, but they can do right now is literally walk around their home and look for what's called defensible space. In the 0 to 5 feet area from their home, if there's any vegetation that is up against the home, it's been known that embers will fly up to a mile away and they'll catch the vegetation on fire. And the next thing you know, that breaks a window and it catches the drapes on fire. So the perimeter around the home is so essential to keep things away that are flammable. So that's number one. Number two is look at the vents. Every home has some sort of ventilation for foundation vents or attic vents. And these vents, unfortunately, have been allowing embers to pass through the screens and then catch the attics on fire. So getting ember-resistant vents are crucial. So those two main things are important. And then also, thirdly, is the vegetation. Managing the vegetation around the perimeter to make sure that you don't have a large bush that has dried out leaves inside of it. And one of the things that we add in our partnership with Perimeter Solutions is now that Fortify solution is available to us, we actually hand apply and spray the vegetation that's there and existing. And we spray it. So now this allows the vegetation to be non-flammable. And so it's the same fire retardant that's dropped from the airplanes that's red has now been made available in the last few years to us. It's clear. And that is a powerful piece that we use as an added layer of protection for our clients.
Yeah, and that was kind of where my next question was, and I think you've answered it. Is as you're using the PHOS-CHEK Fortify product with the same retardant effectiveness, except maybe it has additional retardant adherence and durability, and it's uncolored. How do you see that adding maybe that additional layer of protection that you were just talking about?
I got to tell you, I think it's a powerful piece of the tool belt that people are becoming more and more aware of. We just recently visited an estate where we replaced the vents, we helped them with vegetation management, but they've got a lot of vegetation around the perimeter. And this client says, "Hey, OP, what else can you do?" And I said, "Look, it's exactly what we can do. We can apply PHOS-CHEK Fortify to the perimeter of your vegetation, which is beautiful. A lot of these homes use the vegetation for privacy, and so they're hesitant to get rid of them. And so we spray them so that way they're non-flammable. And now the customer understands there's an added layer of protection to prevent, number one, if an ember comes and hits the vegetation, it's non-flammable. It's not going to ignite. If another ember flies across a distance and hits this tree or vegetation, becomes non-flammable. So therefore, the embers are not being produced and the home is a lot more protected."
You've talked about how you help homeowners with a multitude of solutions at Allied Disaster Defense, including with home hardening or vents. If a customer's looking for that kind of help and they come to Allied Disaster Defense or they want professionally applied PHOS-CHEK Fortify product, talk me through from a homeowner calling you to you helping them proactively protect their property from wildfire.
Absolutely. So one of the first things that we do is we do a wildfire assessment. And so we'll go to the home, we'll inspect the perimeter of the home, we'll also deploy our drone and get an aerial view. And so we'll go from elevation to elevation, each side of the home, and put together a plan of action. And then we're able to deliver a report, an itemized report to the homeowner, say, "Mr. and Mrs. Jones, here are our recommendations." And then we also put some pricing on there as to here's the investment that needs to take place.
That's great. And obviously we want all of the homeowners to be proactive and look at things in a preventative manner. But as we both know, OP, there's times when homeowners don't do that. And then they reach out to you and Allied Disaster Defense in an emergency situation as an active wildfire is approaching their home or their community. Explain to me a little bit about maybe what you do differently and how PHOS-CHEK products fit into an emergency response situation.
Absolutely. So right now, what happens is when there's an incident and then you have CAL FIRE and the fire department are saying, "Hey, this is an evacuation zone." We get calls from our insurance carriers and the homeowners insurance carriers saying, "Hey, Allied Disaster Defense, can you please go spray PHOS-CHEK on these addresses of these homes?" And so in order for us to get past the evacuation zone, we have to have what's called a red card to get past the incident. And so all of our employees are trained, they all have their card and they all have the proper PPE to go in past the incident. And we begin going and spraying every single address that the insurance company has provided to us to go in there in a proactive manner ahead of the wildfire, apply the fire retardant. In case the fire does hit that area, the vegetation is non-flammable, giving the home and the property a better chance of survival.
I mean, that's fantastic. You just mentioned that red card and being able to go in. I know that Allied Disaster Defense actually trains some other professionals on the ability to appropriately apply PHOS-CHEK. A good product is only as good as it is when it's applied appropriately. Can you take us through how you prepare other service providers, affiliates to be ready for such a critical job and maybe what they need to learn before getting started?
Yes, absolutely. What we do is day one, we teach about wildfire science. And this is done by one of our retired captains of the fire service who has the specialty to teach about these wildfire science. So everyone has an understanding on how wildfire works and where it impacts. Day two is PHOS-CHEK Fortify, how to apply this product that is really innovation now at its best here. We are applying the product and we are hands-on. We're taking our group of 30 people this next week and we're going to spray vegetation. We're going to show them how to mix it. We're going to show them how to use the refractometer. We're going to show them exactly how to apply it. So that way, when I get the call, I get my partner who's been trained, been authorized to understand how to use it. Day three is red card training. And that is a prerequisite that's required by CAL FIRE in order for the red card to be assigned. And so with those 3 days, we really give someone an immersion to understand wildfire behavior, how to use the product that is going to be helping people, and how to get past the incident command to work together with the fire service to prevent these wildfires from impacting more homes.
Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, at Perimeter Solutions, we know that, homeowner insurance is becoming a major issue. You deal with insurance companies and some of the best insurance companies in the industry, but across the Western United States, as wildfires become more prevalent, how are insurance companies looking at what you're doing to help them continue coverage of homes?
Well, this is such a big topic and sensitive sometimes, but the reality is the insurance companies, AIG just left California. They said, we're not going to write anymore. This is such a big issue. A lot of our clients have called us and our brokers have called us and said, hey, what can you do to help my customer, my client get renewed and not be non-renewed? The homeowners now have to participate in managing their own risk. And that's a beautiful thing because now there's much more awareness. The customer, the client is looking for solutions. And so part of what we do is exactly that. When they call us, Wes, the insurance companies, we go out there, we do the wildfire assessment, we give recommendations, we let them know, here's the plan of action to take to make the home more resistant to wildfire and the things that we've just talked about. The insurance companies appreciate it and the homeowners appreciate it because now they're getting closer and closer to showing the insurance carriers that I do care about my home enough that I'm going to take on the risk also and do my part to invest in making these things happen.
I appreciate that answer, OP. And I think taking one step up, even a bigger picture of what Allied Disaster Defense is doing. I know you've made some significant capital investments yourself to have the right equipment, even large equipment available that can apply thousands of gallons of PHOS-CHEK products. What do you hope to do with that equipment? How are you seeing your offering growing in the bigger picture of wildfire prevention and protection?
Great question, Wes. So we made one of the bigger capital investments we made is we purchased a water tender, which is able to spray 2,500 gallons of a fire retardant PHOS-CHEK through our system. And so what we're doing with that, Wes, and where the cities have the most interest is we're in discussions with Laguna Beach locally. We're in discussions with Chino Hills locally. These areas have evacuation routes that can really cause a problem. And after all of us seeing the Paradise Fire in the documentary and some of the images that are so frightening of people trying to evacuate while the trees on the side of the road are on fire and they could feel the heat from their vehicle. So that is so triggering that the cities are making investments to say, I want to use PHOS-CHEK Fortify. I want to protect my evacuation zones. So at least we have the ability for all the vehicles and all of our people to evacuate in the area that is having impact. So that's number one is where the focus is and people are paying attention to. In addition to some of these cities have these hillsides that the vegetation has not burned in 30 plus years. So the fuel bed is so primed for it to get on fire. So they're taking these proactive approaches to spray proactively to prevent the wildfires from raging. So that's how they're using them.
Great. And you've mentioned a couple times now, as we've been visiting, about the PHOS-CHEK Fortify product, the kind of breakthrough innovation technology that originally came out of Stanford University, MIT, Cal Poly, true material science and breakthrough on that. And obviously, Perimeter Solutions is very thankful for our partnership with Allied Disaster Defense. But could you explain to me maybe why Allied chose, say, the PHOS-CHEK Fortify product over anything else that was available?
Yes, there are other competing products that are coming onto the market, and they're attempting to try and prove themselves in the marketplace. But the way that we see it, Wes, is I'm looking at which company has the solid reputation after 60 years plus in working with CAL FIRE and deploying the fire retardant from the airplanes, who is the trusted brand. There's no way, especially for my clients, and homeowners too should pay attention. You want the brand that has been proven. You don't want to experiment. Now you want to know that I'm going to apply something that has absolutely been proven. The innovation has just made it even more attractive to prevent wildfire, even more so. So why would I go anywhere else? I'm not here to try to experiment with anyone's property. I'm here to make sure I apply the best product that's on the market. And that's our position. And that's how we stand. Like now I feel like I can deliver that safety net to my customer without trying to compromise anywhere else. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and I really appreciate you saying that. Obviously, we work very hard at Perimeter Solutions to always deliver trusted solutions and bring our experience to bear in that. One of my last questions, I've been fortunate enough to hear you present at a number of conferences in the past. In a couple of weeks, you'll be speaking at the virtual Wildfire Prevention Summit that's getting hosted by the Western Fire Chiefs on May 3rd and 4th. Can you give listeners maybe a preview of a couple of things you'll be discussing as you are hosted by the Western Fire Chiefs?
Yeah, this is going to be a very powerful event. A lot of our insurance carriers will be attending. And so the impact here is IBHS will be there, CAL FIRE will be there, a lot of people and government officials. Everyone's paying attention to see what can we do now this year that the season's coming our way and it's coming quick. What can we do to help our homeowners with prevention measures? And so we're going to discuss in detail, Wes, what that looks like with respects to exactly what the homeowners can do on their own and what can the insurance carriers and what can the governments begin to preach, if you will, to all of the homeowners and say, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, we are in this with you, and here is the plan of action. And it includes these things of vegetation management, it includes home hardening, it includes PHOS-CHEK application, it includes all these things to make sure that we have a better chance of survivability from home to home and community to community. So I'm very excited to be a part of that event and looking forward to what it produces with regards to the actions that take place after that.
Yeah, Opie, I'm definitely looking forward to hearing, what you have to say. And I know a number of our listeners here on the podcast, will be tuning in on May 3rd and 4th for that as well. Thank you so much for your time today and for joining us on the Solutions That Save podcast. And we look forward to continue to work very closely together here in the industry.
Wes, thank you so much. Have a great day.
To register to attend the 2022 Wildfire Prevention Summit and to see the full agenda for the virtual event taking place May 3rd and 4th, visit www.wildfirepreventionsummit.com. To find out how we use our experience, responsibility, and integrity to deliver trusted solutions that help improve firefighting performance, visit our website at perimeter-solutions.com. That's perimeter-solutions.com. And learn more about our solutions that save property, natural resources, critical infrastructure, and lives. Please join us again for another episode of Solutions That Save, a fire safety podcast from Perimeter Solutions.